What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Run Shop Podcast here on the Rise Network. I'm your host, Najee Adams. I got the guys with me today, Justice, Khalil. How y'all doing?
I'm swell. Did you instantly just get more stopped up as we started recording?
Bro, as I'm talking, it's not getting much better. So y'all gonna have to bear with me. Currently have a cold. My girlfriend gave it to me. So we're definitely blaming her for that. She works with snotty little kids and shit. So
she's a traitor.
Yeah, she's a teacher. They bring her, my roommate's a teacher. So all the little high school colds, I get them. So but yeah. Make sure y'all subscribe to Run It Up Podcast on every single place that you would possibly listen to it. YouTube, TikTok, follow us on Twitter, leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, tell your family and friends. Like I always say, y'all listen to podcasts, y'all know what to do to make them pop. So go ahead and do that for us. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at @NajAdams_, Khalil on Twitter at Bolil44, and Justice on Twitter at JusticeReed2. I don't know if y'all saw, but I had my first viral tweet the other day. I just want to make that clear. Y'all didn't peep? Go ahead and look at that.
I'm gonna look it up.
Go ahead and look at that. With that Richard Sherman Skip Bayless tweet that I posted. That I never went viral before in my life, but this is the first time everything. You feel me?
What's the definition of viral?
I don't know. I got like 4K likes, like 100.
4K.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. It wasn't like no 10K, 20K shit, but
I had a tweet. Do numbers one time.
When did you tweet it? Was that the Miami Unitas had something or what?
No.
When did you go viral?
It was a little kid who was at a camp that I worked at who could make the sound of a police siren, like on the dot, and I put it on Twitter and he blew up.
All right.
That's a TikTok play for sure.
No,
probably wasn't popping back then.
908 retweets.
You feel me?
4,700 likes.
Come on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But yeah, that was late going viral. So yeah, make this podcast episode go viral. I was gonna plug it. You know how people be like, I don't really got nothing to plug, but I didn't end up doing it because I felt like a fucking loser if I did it. But I might do it later just for shits and gigs.
Do it.
Yeah, I might do it. But yeah, so today. Oh, actually, we got to do song of the week, but I guess I can tell you what we're going to talk about today first. Today, we're about a quarter way through the NBA season. Teams have played like 30 games, 25 games, something like that. So we're about a quarter way through the NBA season. So what I'm going to do is I've got how many statements here? 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 16 statements here that covers multiple aspects of the NBA, some players, some teams, some a little bit of both. And I'm going to ask you guys if you believe it or not halfway through the season. Is it a trend that you think we're going to see for the rest of the year? Or is it just kind of starting off hot, starting off slow? Is it just a quarter season fluke type of thing? So they do not know any of the ones that I'm going to ask them. To be completely transparent, I just came up with them maybe 2 hours ago. So, you know, we're flying high here. Believe it or not, y'all already get the gist of it. You tell me if you believe it or not. I give you a statement. Boom. So for the first one, I have a 1A and a 1B because I couldn't choose one that I wanted to say. So I figured why not just throw both in here. So believe it or not, the Boston Celtics are the best team in the NBA. 22-7, best record in the NBA, 11-2 at home, 11-5 on the road, best offensive rating in the NBA, top 8 defensive rating in the NBA, best net rating in the NBA. Only team with 2 top 14 scorers in the NBA. I will say that's a bit cherry picking because the Lakers have 2 top 15 scorers in Anthony Davis and LeBron, but the Celtics have 2 top 14 scorers. And they're doing all this without Robert Williams, who's coming off an all defensive second team selection. So I ask you again, believe it or not, are the Celtics the best team in the NBA?
No.
So you don't believe it?
I don't believe it. And not could they have been the best team up to this point? Yeah, absolutely. I still would prefer to side with Milwaukee when they're healthy and hitting on all cylinders. Just the player that Giannis is, and I think everybody in here agrees it's the best player in the world. He's got the perfect sidekick for him and Chris Middleton, and what Drew Holiday brings to the table. Brook Lopez is had another resurgence after kind of having a down year last year. Bobby Portis is averaging a double-double off the bench, should be in 6th man of the year conversations. They just built the team the way it's supposed to be built. And I would side with Milwaukee if they were to play a 7-game series and they're both at full health.
Okay. Hello, talk to me, bro.
I can't put my finger on it because, of course, they've been playing well, and you've had a lot of their role players also playing well. And they're not even all that healthy. You know, you can talk about Horford, you talk about Rob Will, but I don't think I can. You know, I can't believe it yet. I need to see a little bit more, and I don't think I can even see that through the regular season. I think we need to see a little bit more even in the playoffs and what that team looks like. You know, Tatum has already taken a leap during the regular season, but, you know, can we see it, you know, during bigger games in the playoffs and against more teams, especially like the Bucks, who hopefully will be at full health again. So you want to see that. You want to see that matchup. You want to see how guys react, because they still have some of those same tendencies they had last year in the playoffs, with just being a little bit undisciplined, a little bit sloppy. They still have some of those and just not showing up in certain places. I talked about it with Justice. I called Tatum a hoe because he didn't show up against the Clippers. And that
Yeah,
game,
but then he wanted to come in. He wanted to come and be Superman versus us. So.
and shoot post fades of LeBron. So I'm like,
Exactly.
whatever, bro. It's a great performance. So I don't take anything away from that. But I just want to see it in a different environment before I you know, deem them as the best team in the NBA. You know, but they've been playing extremely well. So
For me, I think when you go back to our preseason takes and you look at a lot of the teams that we thought were going to be really good, like the Clippers, they aren't. They definitely don't look like the team that a lot of people thought they were going to look like. Granted, I don't think a lot of people knew the real situation with Kawhi coming into the season, so I'll give them that. The Warriors, they've fallen off a cliff. Even the Nuggets don't look as I mean, I was pretty high on the Nuggets in specific, so like they don't look as good. I had them penciled as a 60-win team, first in the West. I don't think that's happening. And so like the Celtics are a team that I thought would be nice and actually is nice. The Bucks are another team. So and you know, I coming into the season, I had them as my chip. I had them winning the chip, and they haven't really shown me anything to make me believe that they won't. So I would still take the Bucks as the best team in the league, but I think the Celtics are top 3. I think they might be the second best team in the league, to be completely honest. I think it's like that middle to bottom half of the NBA really is a clusterfuck right now. Like there's so many teams that could be so much better, and a lot of teams that might just drop off a cliff. So I really think we're going to see a lot of variety in the play that we see going forward in the season, and the playoffs could get really, really mixy. But yeah, I would say I also don't believe it. We got a triple don't believe it on the Celtics being the best team in the NBA. My 1B to that was, believe it or not, Jayson Tatum is the MVP.
Oh, I believe it.
I also
100%.
believe it.
He was my preseason pick. So who am I to throw my gun away now?
I had Jokic, and if you look on Basketball Reference, they do an MVP tracker, and he is indeed their MVP. But I don't think Jokic is an MVP. Jayson Tatum is my MVP, 20-something games through the season. He's averaging, it's a career year for him all around, averaging a career high 30, shooting a career high at the free throw line. His second highest field goal percentage, but his first highest was his rookie year. He was only taking 11 shots per game. So, you know, it's very clearly his career year. And yeah, I think Jayson Tatum looks amazing. He's definitely taken a leap. He's the best player on the best statistical team right now. So I feel like you got to give him MVP if there was a quarter season MVP.
yeah, he was also my pick for MVP. You know, so I'm gonna believe it. Again, he took strides in, you know, parts of his game where you wanted to see him take strides in. Attacking the basket, attacking it strong, especially fighting through contact, not avoiding that. Also being more decisive in the in-between, mid-range, from the post, and just pulling up there too. So he's been really good in those parts. He's, you know, challenged himself a lot, which is great to see after failing the way he did in the finals against the Warriors team. So it's great to see what he's doing, and I think he's on the right path. And again, he's on one of the best teams in the NBA. So the story's there, the narrative's there. Tatum's MVP.
The age. That's what does it. I'm telling you.
Do you
mean age?
25 to 27.
Mm-hmm.
They love them 25 to 27-year-olds.
So I think we all agree that, or I think the consensus is that, like, if you were picking players to have on your team, you would rather have Luka. but is that the right choice? Because I think Tatum's going to get an MVP first. I also think Tatum probably wins a chip first. And granted, he's been in the league longer, so he's, got a little bit more experience. But I don't know, man. I think that Jayson Tatum he looks dominant. And don't get me wrong, Luka does as well. But the Mavs are 14-14, and a lot of people love the Mavs coming into the season. They're like, oh my God, you saw what they did to the Suns. The Mavs are going to be a top 3 seed. I never believed the Mavs were that good.
Same here. That roster is just not there.
It's not it. I'm sorry. Like, you're counting on THJ and Reggie Bullock and Dorian Finney-Smith. Like, I'm sorry, but that's not happening. So would you still at this point take Luka over Tatum?
So on a recent TikTok we dropped, I said Luka was a clear number 2 best player in the NBA. And since that point, his play hasn't dropped off. But at some point, you've got to wonder if a guy's ability is allowing him to elevate his teammates as well. Mm-hmm. And if they're actually playing better basketball because of what he's doing. And obviously, they're not great. And it's not 100% his fault because that team is not constructed the way. It's
not amazing. I don't know why people thought it was.
There's not like a lot they can do. I don't.
Yeah.
Like, so put it in their hands. Like, I don't know. Yeah,
the power of Luka is can fool you sometimes. Trust me, I know. I thought they were going to be a top 4 seed this year. But at the same time, it's hard just to compare because they're in such different situations. Like Tatum's got the perfect running mate. I mean, they're the best 1-2 in the league at this point.
Yeah. Luka doesn't have. He's never had a guy like I mean,
that kid. Their guy.
Say that again.
KP's 21 and 8.
That's true.
Oh, that guy.
That's
yeah.
True.
He's been crazy.
He's been great. Yeah.
KP's been awesome, and they traded Brunson.
Out to him.
Listen, Luka got a little bit of that Allen Iverson going on, bro. When Iverson got Larry Hughes, he started dribbling a little bit. They was like, I don't know, he got to go. So now Luka's like, oh, that Jalen Brunson guy dribbling a little too much for me.
And Jalen Brunson has been good.
No, Jalen Brunson's been really good.
Been great for the Knicks.
Him and Randall have something going on because
RJ took a backseat.
Yeah. Him and Randall got something going on. So it's just hard to compare. I think in the long haul, the guy you would side with is Luka just because of, I think he's one of the better offensive weapons, if not the best. Him and Jokic, offensive players in the league right now in terms of just the full package of what that side of the floor offers. But at the same time, Tatum's quadruple the defender that Luka is.
I was about to say I would take Tatum. I also think Tatum got a little bit more dog in him. You know?
Yeah, I'm not. Luka got dog. I'm not going to do that.
He got dog, but I just like Tatum more. Like I would take Tatum.
I think I would take Tatum. And that's hard for me to say because I was on Luka being the second best player in the league. And at this point, I would say Giannis, Curry, Tatum, Jokic, and then slide in Luka. So it's just like Tatum. Tatum's so
don't worry, he'll be a Laker soon.
Bro, he almost dunked on Bron again.
He almost did. He always be trying to violate. Like, bro, relax. Like, just let us win the game. Damn.
Real quick, it's short term, probably not. But do you still think that Brunson leaving was the right move for the Mavs long term, or do you think that at all?
Yeah, I don't think you can invest that type of money in his running mate.
Yeah,
you got to get a Jaylen Brown.
You got to get a guy.
Yeah. You can't have a Jalen Brunson. So
like Brunson's playing well right now, but it just doesn't fit the Mavs long term. And
right,
the ceiling basically is what they did last year, or just worse, and what they might look like right now. Well, actually better than that, but still, it's just
they'd be better than they are right now if they had Brunson. Obviously,
of course, short term. But
the Knicks is the perfect situation for Jalen Brunson.
But they got Kemba.
They do have Kemba.
They got Kemba.
Shout out to Kemba.
We've been talking about Kemba being a Maverick for 5 years, and they got him when he's washed.
Boom. We talking about dominant players and dominant teams in the East. We're gonna pivot over to a dominant team in the West. My second third, really, believe it or not, for you is the Pelicans are the best team in the West.
Believe it.
I believe it. Listen.
I believe it.
Who was high on the Pelicans? I was high on the Pelicans. Yeah. They are nice, bro.
That's my second favorite coach of the year.
I love Pels.
Ooh.
But listen, here's the thing. They're the deepest roster in basketball.
I literally, bro, you can't see my notes, but it literally says BI has only played 15 games. They're an extremely deep team, maybe the deepest in the NBA. Come on, talk to me, Justin.
No, they're the deepest roster in basketball. They've got a guy who can carry the weight for 3 quarters in Zion. They've got a closer in Brandon Ingram. They've got a great third piece in CJ McCollum. And if you think about this, this might not have been on a pod with you. This might have been on a pod that I did on 33 rings back in the day. But I said whenever they drafted Zion and then they got rid of Drew and all these guys, I was like, they kind of had the making of what Milwaukee was doing with Giannis and having Drew and BI being the Middleton to Zion's being Giannis. So, but now they've built CJ there, and then they have a roster of just wings who can guard everybody, who can shoot
and
the
guys
ball.
that play hard, like Jose Alvarado.
Jose Alvarado's amazing. Jose Alvarado's exactly what Patrick Beverley thinks he is. So, and it's just like everything about Alvarado and that team and the way that it works. You could tell they, one, enjoy playing with each other. Two, they don't care who's eating that night. And BI is one of the 12 to 14 best closers in the league, probably, like by his skill set in the fourth quarter that you have. He did it in the playoffs last year. Time and time again, shows you how good he can be down the stretch. I think that team is built to win a championship. 2K is more accurate than they've ever been because they win championships at every simulation. So
they have so many guys, like even like Larry Nance Jr. You know, he doesn't do too much, but he fits perfectly there. Does exactly what you need him to do. Herb Jones, everybody know what Herb Jones does. Najee Marshall doesn't do too much, but does just enough. You know, shout out to the name, even though you spell it differently. Dyson Daniel, steal for them.
Love Dyson.
Steal for them. You know, like they have
Trey Murphy. You better say his name right now.
Trey Murphy, Jackson Hayes. Even though I don't really like Jackson Hayes.
I hate Jackson Hayes.
Devontae Graham, which he was really taking, like his career trajectory is really taking a dip since the Pelicans. I mean, since the Hornets, but it is what it is. Like he's still a guy. You feel me?
Yeah.
But yeah, they're super, super deep. I really do think they probably are the best team in the West. Top 6 offense, top 3 defense, top 3 in net rating. Like we said, Zion looks unstoppable. 25, 7, and 4, shooting 61% from the field. He just demolished the Suns back to back. Like, come on. Like they look, as long as Zion stays healthy, and this is all without BI. As long as Zion stays healthy, I really think this team could really win a chip. Like, it's crazy.
Do you think there's anything they need to do with the roster to get to that ceiling, or do you think it's where it is right now, the lineup, the roster construction, everything's good to win a championship?
I think they're good. I think there's always room to improve with any roster, right? But I think as currently constructed, why mess up a good thing? You know, like they have everything that you could really need for a championship team. Like you look at teams.
Rob. Listen up, Rob. Go ahead, Naj. Keep going. Listen up, Rob.
Who's Rob?
Rob Pelinka. Listen up.
Oh,
we're doing a good thing.
Wait, who's Rob? Yeah. Yeah, don't get me started, bro.
Come on, Robert. Listen to me.
But yeah, bro, they got everything you can need. They got 3-and-D wings. They got shooters. They got ball handlers. They have a dominant wing in Zion. They have a closer in Ingram. They have a guy a microwave who can get hot in a second in CJ McCollum. Like they are. Like we were talking about this earlier, CJ McCollum, the best third option in the league, one of the best third options in the league. You feel me? Like they have everything you could possibly want to win a chip. And David Griffin, I wasn't necessarily sold on his direction for the team. And then I'll give it to him. He did what needed to do. He got Zion to buy back in. He went.
Getting CJ was huge in that too.
Getting CJ McCollum was huge. Drafting Dyson Daniels, like they did the right thing, you know. So letting Lonzo walk, like they did the right thing. So I really do think the Pelicans can make noise in the West. Like I look at teams and like I was thinking, like, is that a crazy take? But I'm looking at the standings in the West, and I don't see a team that I'm like, oh yeah, they are definitely better than the Pelicans. Like the Grizzlies, the Nuggets, the Blazers, the Suns, the Clippers, the Kings, like none of those teams I can right out say are better than the Pelicans.
Khalil, do you believe it? I don't think you said.
I didn't say, but I do believe it. I had Willie Green. So in our pod with Riz, right? Yeah. I had Willie Green as coach of the year. I was
right?
Yeah. Are you a little Canadian?
Super high
actually, yeah.
Okay. Oh, I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know where that's come from, but I was high on the Pelicans. I was high on Willie Green and the job he was doing. Even being in his second year with him, like he's done a great job. They bought in. The roster's great. I didn't see them being the best team coming in. Obviously, I don't think any of us really saw that. But what they're doing right now, clicking at the right time. Hopefully, they can get healthy as well going forward. But it's a good team with not a lot of holes on it. Maybe you want to see a little bit more. You don't want to see a little bit more, but maybe you want to see a few different things going forward, or just wanting to see guys prove it a little bit more, especially with a Dyson Daniels, who I love, wanting to see him get more minutes. I think he's done well with the minutes he's had so far too. I just love what they're doing over there.
Boom. So we got a triple believe it on the Pels being the best team in the West. Woof. So moving on to my fourth believe it or not for you. I have numbers here, but I've messed up the numbers with the 1A, 1B, so I'm gonna get tripped up. But fourth, believe it or not for you. We're staying in the West. We're staying with a dominant guy, probably top 10. The Grizzlies are legit title contenders.
No.
You don't think so?
Why?
I think that there are, and this isn't a shot at the Grizzlies. There are a lot of things. One, they just they just irk me. Like, I just hate the Grizzlies. No, I hate the Grizzlies. They've all accumulated into absorbing Ja's personality, and that's just how they all act. And it's the most obnoxious shit.
I don't like that. I feel like that about the Suns. I hate the Suns.
Yeah, the Suns are just corny. Like, there's a
the Suns are the
like,
most annoying team in the NBA.
Somehow the Suns have adopted LeBron's personality into the roster.
Chris Paul, that's who it is.
No, I just think that for them to be contenders, I would have to think that they're going to beat a Phoenix or a Golden State. And I know Golden State's not great right now and Steph's out. But I do think Golden State's starting to find something with Kuminga, and he's starting to look a little more comfortable as the weeks go by, which would be an important part. And Steph's out for 6 weeks, probably 6 to 8 weeks.
Was there a timetable?
They talked about. I
don't know. It was the labrum, right?
Yeah. So usually it was not torn, right?
It wasn't torn.
I don't think so.
No. So 6 to 8 weeks probably.
Well, that's tough, man.
The hardest part for them would be digging themselves out of a hole and getting back into the playoff contention. You look at teams like the Blazers, who look really, really good, and I love what their wings bring to them. And I think the one spot they're missing is probably a better fit than Nurkic at the end of the day. But Nurkic still passes really well from the top of the key. They have elite guard play, elite wings. They probably need a little more depth. But I would take Dame to Ja when it comes to a playoff series. And I think Simons is – we all know how I feel about Simons. That's my boy right there. So I would probably lean with the Blazers.
I actually have a believe it or not for Simons later.
Sweet. Good. I'm glad.
Can't wait.
I believe it. But
Actually, I believe it too.
Yeah, whatever it is. So for me, I just don't see them as contenders, because I have to see you. And we talked about this with the Riff Pod. I have to see I'd envision you holding up an NBA Finals championship trophy, and I don't see them doing it.
But you see it for the Pelicans.
I do see it for the Pelicans. That team is just so deep and so talented. I mean, the drop off from one to, I mean, do you want Ja or Zion?
Zion.
I'm a Zion guy. Khalil?
Especially because the whole wings win chips.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, if he's healthy, I want Zion.
Okay, so
obviously.
Then we drop down to Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson, or CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram.
Desmond Bain looked really good.
It's close.
Desmond Bain looked really good, and Jaren Jackson block shots at a historic rate. But I think BI is the second best player there.
Yeah.
Out of all, not counting John Zion,
right.
Obviously. I think BI comes next. And then I would probably take Bain. And then I would probably take.
I'm taking CJ over Jaren.
I'd probably take CJ over Jaren, but I don't know. It's like right here.
That's
so
close.
those
them having 2 out of 3,
right? Those 3 are close. But you're taking that. You're taking the Pelicans 3, and then you look at their depth. You probably prefer the depth of the Pelicans. Then that's why I see the Pelicans hoisting it. It's not just because of the top 3; it's because of the depth of the complete roster, which is why I was so high on the Clippers. Which they haven't been healthy, but they haven't been able to make it work either. When it's
Norman Powell stinks.
Yeah, Norman Powell is poop. So, so yeah, I just don't see them ever lifting it. Not ever, but not right now lifting a Larry OB this year.
So before me and Khalil give our believe it or not, just to double back to the Steph Curry thing. So his timeline is 2 weeks, right? So he'll be reevaluated. He'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks. That doesn't mean he's gonna miss 2 weeks, but the Warriors are already the 10 seed. So 2 weeks without a top 3 player in the NBA is gonna do.
We about
damage.
to duke it out for the 10 seed. Lakers and the Warriors.
Yeah, a rematch from when was that? 2020, 29. When was 2019?
Yeah.
But for me, do I think the Grizzlies are legit? Actually, Khalil, you go second, bro. Believe it or not, Grizzlies title contenders.
So I mean, we've been kind of talking about the Pelicans and Grizzlies. I've been trying to. I think both teams have a lot of questions to answer, but I feel better about those answers for the Pelicans than I do for the Grizzlies, especially regarding I think Desmond Bain is going to be great in the playoffs, but can he get back healthy? And then also, what is Jaren Jackson going to provide? I think I feel a little bit better about what Brandon Ingram's going to provide in the playoffs, what CJ McCollum's going to provide in the playoffs. Even if it's like short stints or short, sample sizes, small sample sizes, I feel better about that. And if Zion's healthy, I don't know what you're going to do with him, especially with what's already around him in place. With those shooters, so those defenders, and he's been good himself as anyways. So I just have a little bit more questions about the Grizzlies, even though they're tied for number one in the West right now with the Pelicans. I don't feel confident saying they're contenders right now, and it's not even about being able to imagine them hoisting up a trophy, but I just have questions about what they're going to look like in the playoffs and how they're going to bounce back.
All right, so I guess I'll be the contrarian here. I think they are legit title contenders. Ja looks like a top 10 player in the league. He's putting up 28, 7, and 8, shooting 35.5% from 3. They're 17-9. And what really I was on the fence about it until I started looking up stats. And the eye test for me does a lot, but I do take into account stats when I think of these things. And so they're top 5 in players' minutes missed due to injury, right? So obviously Ja's missed a couple games, but Desmond Bain's out. Triple J just came back. The 3 of them have not played a single game together all season, and they're the 2 seed, right? And so they're starting 5 right now, which is Ja, John Conjar, Dylan Brooks, Triple J, and Steven Adams, is a plus 22.2, which is in the 93rd percentile amongst all 5-man lineups. Talk to me.
Steven Adams is unplayable in the playoffs.
I agree. I don't think Steven Adams is a great player by any means.
I just want to make sure
I don't think he's a great player by any means. I think
the second the Pelicans throw Zion at the 5, he's off the floor.
I think their best lineup in the playoffs is what they were running. Steven Adams was unplayable last playoffs.
Exactly.
Triple J at the 5. He just gets in so much fucking foul trouble. Watching him and Cat get 5 fouls a game.
No. Hold on. Imagine Triple J guarding Jokic for a series. He's fouling out. He's fouling out
in the second quarter
of every game. This is my problem with the Grizzlies. It's not a disciplined roster. Like when you watch them play, they perform best when basketball is hectic. Like when they are out, like when they can just run and do shit. Like that's when the Grizzlies are great. Mm-hmm. And Ja has questions to answer in terms of who he is as a distributor. Actually, to me, there's a difference in being your ball dominant, so you get these numbers. The turn for Tatum has been how unselfish he is, and the opportunities that's created for him. And Ja has this little ounce of selfishness to him that bothers you when you watch it.
Because I think Ja likes to play hero ball.
Yeah, all the time, and I don't
loves him some hero ball.
I'm just not with it. I'm just not with hero ball. As a lifelong LeBron over Kobe guy, I'd just rather have the guy that's going to play right basketball. And I just don't see that the Grizzlies being able to just close out an important game relying on Ja to go out there and
you don't trust him.
Right.
You can't trust him.
That's what I'm saying.
Especially best of what we saw.
When I think about the word title contenders, though, I don't think that they are if I had to pick a team to win I wouldn't pick them as my favorites, but can I see them winning a chip? I can. I think there's probably 4 teams that are real, maybe 5 teams that are real contenders right now. And I don't think I couldn't put them in there. We haven't even seen their full lineup and they look pretty dominant,
Nuggets. Do you prefer the Grizzlies to the Nuggets?
Right now? Yeah. I actually
I don't know
right now. I probably would. Yeah.
I don't know, just because Jamal Murray is still obviously trying to get back into a rhythm of being Jamal Murray.
Yeah. MPJ is not playing more than 45 games ever.
Yeah, he's not. He's missing games. So it's just interesting to see. Jokic is just such a mismatch problem in the playoffs that it becomes difficult for me to be like, yeah, I would take them, because if Steven Adams is out there, he's guarding Jokic. So it's just like,
Jaren Jackson can't guard Jokic.
No, he's going to foul out. I mean, nobody guards Jokic. Let's just be honest. But you get what I'm saying. There's just certain issues with their roster that I can't get behind. I think they're a great team. I think they'll be a staple in the top 4 of the standings for the next 5-6 years, or however long it may last. But I'm not a believer in them winning a championship or being a contender. And there's a gap. There's a tier break. We're great at doing tier breaks on this podcast.
Yeah, we're really great at tiers over here.
I think I want to see them take a turn or elite themselves. Not that they're a bad team, but I guess, being able to trust them, closing out those big games in the playoffs, not leaving it up to the Timberwolves to just, poop the bed. So
yeah.
What tier of special are the Grizzlies? Are they B? Who's the line for B? Where do we make the entry point for B? Somebody tell me.
I don't want to talk about it.
I refuse. We're gonna move over to the East for my next. Believe it or not, Donovan Mitchell is the best shooting guard in the NBA.
Yeah, he has been this year.
But do you believe that is going to be sustained throughout the entire season? Or is that just he has been this year?
I think you can have a better season and not be the best shooting guard in the NBA.
So what are you asking?
So I'm asking you, after this season, or
is he regarded as the best shooting guard in basketball?
From here on out, do you regard Donovan Mitchell as the best shooting guard in basketball?
That's tough.
No.
I don't think so.
Okay, tell me why. Because he's putting up 29, which is damn good. He's playing defense again. He's bought into the cap. And a lot of people were really upset that Donovan Mitchell stopped playing defense on the Jazz. But when you go through season after season after season and just continuously blow leads, the outcome of your season is going to be top 5 seed, get clapped in the playoffs. You begin to lose some, you stop believing, why am I going to sit here and assert myself on both ends of the floor when I already know? I look in this locker room and I don't see nobody that I could depend on to really help me out when I'm not having a good game. I'm carrying these boys over here. Rudy Gobert is doing nothing on offense and getting cooked on the perimeter. So why am I going to sit here and be a top tier defender when I know the outcome of the season? He's bought in on the Cavs. He's playing defense. When Darius Garland was out, he proved how good of a facilitator he can be. Granted, Devin Booker has done the same when CP3 is out, but Donovan Mitchell has been a better defender than Devin Booker, I think, has ever been. And he's proving that he can score, maybe not the same caliber of scorer, but still damn near putting up 30 points per game. So why would you take D Book over Donovan Mitchell? I bet you this makes it sound like I would take Donovan Mitchell over D Book too, but I want to know why y'all, and I'm iffy too, but I'm just making his case,
Is Donovan, is James Harden still a shooting guard?
No.
I think he is the point on Philly, and Tyrese Maxey plays the 2.
But hadn't James always been the point?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. All right, so you can say he's a shooting guard, sure.
Okay. Are we?
It's Luka small forward.
That's what I'm saying. It's just so weird. So it's so hard. Is Shai a shooting guard? Is Paul George a shooting guard when Kawhi plays? You know what I'm saying?
It feels like such a 2 to me sometimes. I don't know.
Paul George.
I think Shai is a
Shai.
Shai is a 2,
but I think he plays the 1.
Yeah, he plays the 1, but he just feels like a shooting guard.
Yeah, well, so much of their distribution on that roster is spread out to amongst other players and their ball handling.
You got
abilities.
Josh Giddey.
Right.
Yeah, Josh Giddey played a point.
Josh Giddey stinks. Anyways, it's hard to say because at current moment, yes, he is. Then there's also the projection of it. Mm-hmm. And what that looks like. And Shai has been unreal. I don't think you can just immediately answer. We talked about him being the same level of talent as these guys, but does that make him a better player at this point? Probably hasn't been through as much, so you would give Donovan the edge there. Booker has been to the finals. He's taken a step this year. He's better this year than he was last year.
He's been the best player on a team that went to the finals.
Yeah. Booker is always been to me when you watch it, seems like a plus defender. He's not great. Donovan Mitchell deciding to play defense doesn't make him a great defender. They're both just they play defense.
He's not a liability. Like he's
no. They both play make actually. So it comes down to who do you really prefer as a scorer at the end of the day. I'll probably go Booker. God, that's tough, man. Because Don's had such big games in the playoffs.
I feel like they both have their moments in the playoffs.
Yeah,
they both have.
Like they both have some really big moments.
You know what? Give me Don. Believe it. I believe it. Best shooting guard in the NBA.
Khalil?
I'm gonna go with Book.
Okay.
Respect.
All right. I have another question for you. Yeah, you feel me? I do this. I have another question for you. Next 5 years, who would you rather have, Donovan Mitchell or Ant Edwards?
Is Rudy Gobert still there?
I mean, in a vacuum, like who's the better player in 5 years?
Probably Donovan Mitchell.
You think?
I'm kind of starting to
sour on Ant Edwards.
On Ant Edwards a little bit, yeah.
I think this was a big year for him, and he hasn't exactly come out the gate like I was expecting.
Yeah, not the way you'd like him to.
Yeah,
and it's just tough to see him being better than Don at this point, like than what Don is right now.
I don't know if it's Ant or if it's Minnesota.
But they're terrible to watch. I hate watching the Timberwolves right now.
They should have never made that trade.
Like you want him to figure it out, but like if you look around him, I don't like that situation. So I mean, can he figure it out in that situation? You would hope so. Can he get the keys one day? You would hope so, but I don't know.
They were saying he had the keys last year.
Well, that just wasn't the case.
Yeah, Cat's not helping. No, nothing around him's helping him.
No,
so it's not making me feel any better about it. But what sucks is they should have been. On paper, you're like, oh, they should be decent. They're not.
No,
so
they're the 11th seed. You know, they're right above us. So, they traded 7 first-round picks to be 1 seed better than the Lakers. So yeah, my next believe it or not, the Suns are cooked. Now you can interpret that as you must, but in my head, I mean they've obviously been finals locks. They made the finals, made the Western Conference Finals, then got clapped by Luka. But did they make the Western Conference Finals? No, they made the Western Conference semis.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They made the Western Conference semis, and then Luka got clapped by the Warriors. But they've been the favorites to go to the finals in the West for like the last 2 years. They're currently the 5 seed, 16 and 12. CP3 is having a weird season. D-Book's in and out the lineup. The thing with Jay Crowder is super weird. DeAndre and doesn't know if he wants to be there or not. Cam Johnson was out for a significant amount of time. Mikal Bridges is Mikal Bridges. And so campaign is annoying. So do you believe that the Suns are still contenders? Because I think coming into the season, everyone would have said they are.
No.
So
I was low on the Suns coming in, and I'm still low on the Suns at this moment. Okay, as far as like having a high ceiling in the playoffs, maybe I had a fringe playing team, maybe just above there, but I don't think they have a high ceiling for the playoffs.
So what happened? Like their team isn't that much different than it was 2 years ago.
Cam being hurt sucks because then they don't have Jay, so now they're just out of their 2 wings at that point. Who would be starting at that position? They're power forwards. That's what they play for them usually. But it's tough to say. I think it's very dependent on Chris. Because the rest of that roster can perform, but the thing that got them over the hump was Chris being Chris Paul. And right now he doesn't look like Chris Paul. And he hasn't since the season started. I know he had a couple good games here and there. He's not scoring near as efficiently as he has throughout his career. He's not shooting the ball well. Turnover numbers are fluctuating here and there. So if I was a betting man, I would probably say no. But if we say Chris is somehow gets back to just Chris Paul of last year, then I'd have to say yeah. Okay. Just because that's what they were last year.
I still think I'd want to see them make a trade, though. We don't know what that's going to look like, and something has to be coming sooner or later, you would think. I guess after.
They got to get Jay Crowder up out of there.
Yeah, so I still want to see a trade made. even if Chris Paul gets healthy. I mean, it's a good team still, but I don't know. I mean, even matching up against some of these teams, and we've seen it against the Pelicans this year. We saw it against the Pelicans last season. They gave them fits, and that was no Zion. And then we saw what happened against the Mavericks. Of course, that game 7 was crazy, and I don't think something like that would happen again. But I don't think they match up with teams always that great.
Here's my question, because if the Suns aren't contenders, and I don't think the Grizzlies are contenders, neither do you, Khalil.
Mm-hmm.
But we think the Pelicans are the only contender in the West.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's got to be someone else, and that's why I was saying, looking at the rest of the teams in the West, like
Lakers.
Yeah. Stop, Justice. We are not talking about them on this episode, even though one of the believers are not about the Lakers.
Okay.
So unless you're like a Warriors
Okay.
fan. If you're a non-Warriors fan, maybe in the back of your mind you're thinking the Warriors are going to turn around, and if you're someone like a Warriors fan, you would hope so, right?
I don't think you go from 10 seed to chip. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know.
It's hard to believe they can't turn it around though.
I don't think they're going to be the 10 seed, but I don't know if they win in the chip.
If they get in, they're tough regardless.
And now Steph is out. Like, they're gonna be in a hole unless I don't know who's gonna step up, but.
Jordan Poole, 45 points a game.
It's a good time to have Poole in fantasy, I guess.
Actually, I have an off the cuff question. So, Devin Booker, Zion, Tatum, and Luka. Do we all believe that one point of their career or another, they'll win a championship?
All of them?
Yeah.
No.
At least one. You don't think?
Oh, at least one?
Yeah.
No.
So out of those 4, in what order would you say they win a championship? And
Tatum.
If you don't think they win one, then they'll obviously be last.
Tatum and Zion are 1 and 2, whichever way you want to put it.
And I got Luka at 3. And the Suns at 4.
So you think Zion wins before Luka?
Their situation is just massively better. He's already set up to win, whereas Luka's got a long way to go in roster construction. And it's not like people have been knocking down doors to go play with Luka, because what does it look like to be the second guy with Luka? Like, what is that even?
Yeah, you standing on the wing while he takes a step back jumper is what it looks like.
Yeah, it's like I don't know where you fit in. So we've talked about it on this pod that Luka's got a step to take in his career before I'd say that he's going to lead a team to a championship, in a sense of he's got to learn how to play off ball. He's got to add something else to his game where he doesn't have to have the ball in his hands and be productive. That's not just standing off on the wing, be like waiting for Spencer Dinwiddie to do 3 crossovers
and eventually get the ball back with 6 seconds left on the shot clock and have to do something.
Yeah. So it's just that roster's got so much further to go. So it's not so much about the individual player. It's more about Book. See, I would put Book at 3.
So I don't feel good about that roster right now. I obviously don't feel good about the Mavs roster either. You want to see moves made going forward. I guess at that point, I'm giving it to the best player or the better player when it comes to Luke and Book. Until I see changes made for Book's situation, I guess.
To me, Book is more desirable to play with. Phoenix is a better market. People love Phoenix. Mikal Bridges is a good player. They have pieces that can move with DeAndre Ayton at some point, or they could keep him and he's still better than 90% of centers in the NBA. So it's just like his second and third. Like, is there a player on the Mavericks you would take over Mikal Bridges?
And I guess that's a good point, because
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're talking about the Suns having more options than the Mavericks do. Yeah, okay, I'm with you on that. Yeah.
So that's why I would put Booker at 3.
I'll flip it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So I would have the same ranking as y'all. So to take team context out of it, do you believe all 4 win an MVP at some point in their career?
No.
So who doesn't? Because I feel
Booker's
like
not winning MVP.
So you feel like Zion wins one?
Yeah, probably.
You feel like Ja wins one?
No.
Okay. I feel like Ja might win one. You feel like Embiid wins one?
No.
That's tough.
His time's passed.
That's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough.
You think Ja wins one?
I think he could. If he averages like 37 and 5 and the Grizzlies are a top 2 seed, they gonna give it to him. while Luka's putting up 35 as the 6th seed. They gonna give it to Ja.
Yeah. I don't know. I
think Tatum wins probably 2. I think Zion probably wins 2. But then, like, Anthony Davis never won one. And you asked me 5 years ago, would Anthony Davis win an MVP? I'd be like, yeah, Anthony Davis gonna get an MVP. So,
I think that was like the general consensus. Year 2 and beyond, everybody's like, okay, well, this is Anthony Davis's NBA. As soon as it's like, as soon as this era ends, like, this is Anthony Davis's era. And
he never got a DPOY. He never got an MVP. Like, he never got an.
But he top 75 though. So
he got a chip.
I'll give him his flowers, and he got a chip. Could you say that Anthony Davis's career has been a disappointment?
I think he's happy with it.
Okay, cool. That's all I wanted to know. Do you think he sleeps well?
I think he's happy with it. I think the chip was a weight off his shoulder, you know, because he had a dominant high school career, dominant college career. And then that Pelicans tenure was all bad for the most part. And then he came here and they won the chip in his first season. And then it's pretty much been downhill since there. He got injured last season and we got eliminated. Well, we didn't make the playoffs last season. He got injured the season before that. And it's just been tough.
So the chip was the validation he needed.
I think so.
Okay. I was just curious. Anyways, back to
I think the chip is what made him top 75.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, absolutely.
You know, like I think that's what got it for him. The
Also,
MVP.
And he had a great run too. So I mean,
yeah. But do you remember the conversation was Anthony Davis is probably going to be the best power forward of all time when he retires. I mean, that was like a normal conversation, and it was believable. No, it was believable. Like you watched him play, and you're like, "Yeah, I don't see."
You can't be mad at that,
no,
bro. My sophomore year of high school, I remember saying, "I like it's in my mind." I know exactly the moment I said, "Oh yeah," I remember the word saying Anthony Davis is gonna be the best power forward of all time, and my roommate was like, "Tim Duncan." I was like, "Nah, Anthony Davis is gonna be the best power forward of all time." And here we are. What?
The tail end of
5 years later.
The tail end of his career.
29 years old, getting gassed in OT. Like, bro, like that. Okay, well, I'm not even gonna do it. Or actually, fuck that. No, because we lost that game in OT versus Celtics, and people were like, "Well, Anthony Davis had to play the whole third and fourth, and then OT. He's 29. What are you talking about? He's not 35. He should be able to play. Come on."
Zion will never win the MVP. Actually.
That's what made me
the
think
counting stats won't be there, like the rebounds and assists, because he's spotty when he's rebounding, like 7 rebounds a game. Probably the assists not really going to be there, and I don't know if Zion's ever going to be a guy that averages 30, like 31, 32, like have like an MVP, like I'm the best player on this roster all the time. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough for me to say that, and I think Luka obviously will win an MVP. Doesn't matter what he does. Somebody's gonna give him MVP.
Yeah, somebody's gonna give him MVP. Come on.
Tatum's about to win one this year. So.
Yeah. So on to my next, believe it or not, the Nets are legit title contenders.
What?
Yes.
Okay, talk to me, Justice. Tell me
why. Well, since they've gotten, sorry, hold on. Since Ben has gotten found a rhythm, a little bit for Ben. Whatever a rhythm looks like for Ben Simmons, he's found it at least a tiny little bit. TJ Warren coming back, but they've still got pieces who are waiting to get meshed into everything, and I'll just never be able to count out a team that rolls out Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. So I just can't. They have pieces that are weird. They're sometimes hard to watch. Edmund Sumner is a big part of what they do.
You love that.
Yeah, I love Edmund Sumner. I really do. I loved him coming out of Xavier. So it's just what it is.
Royce O'Neal's a big part of what they do. Traded a first to get him.
I'm not mad at Royce O'Neal. He's a fine
me either. I think he's good. A nice
I'd take him on the Lakers right now.
I would love to have Royce O'Neal.
So and it's just like, and me and Khalil, we watched him play the other night, and I said it's nice to have a guy like TJ Warren who can go get a bucket if you need him to. You know, Joe Harris is starting to shoot the ball a little better. Seth Curry's been in and out of the lineup with some injuries.
My son, Yuta Watanabe.
Yeah,
he's shooting that thing.
So they've got shooting. They've got guys who can play defense. Nick Claxton looks good. I just think that they've got to be able to have everybody healthy and see it all together and watch it mesh, actually. The storylines aren't really popping over there anymore. Like, nobody's really bashing Kyrie at this point. Like, he just kind of gets to hoop right now.
Yeah, like you forget he's there.
Yeah. So it's just counting out Kevin Durant is just something I'm not going to do. So they'll be a contender for me as long as he's got a running mate.
I agree. I think they've looked pretty good as of late. They're the 11th team in net rating, decent defense, a top 10 defense, top 10 offense. Like they're pretty versatile. You know, like they have players that can do a lot of what you need a championship team to do.
Yep.
And so,
well, KD's been playing better than he has this year than he has over the last 3 years.
Putting up 30.
Which is insane to see.
Just,
like it's crazy.
Maybe
you could argue he's been the best player in the league this year as well. So
knock on wood, like and I feel like he's done this every year. Like he, makes these crazy. He's playing so well, playing at MVP level, and then something happens, and then it goes downhill. So knock on wood for that. But hopefully it keeps up this time around.
Yeah, I would also say that. I'd say if they make the playoffs, nobody wants to see them. Like they're a tough out. Granted, they got swept last year, but I still think they're a tough out. They didn't have Joe Harris last year. Kyrie was in and out the lineup. I would assume by the time they get to the playoffs this year, they'll have way more fluidity in their lineups and way more, like chemistry in their lineups by the time they get there. Obviously, Ben wasn't playing last season, so I think they'll be a tough out. And anyone that thinks they're just going to get swept again, I think you're tweaking. No shot they get swept again. But if barring some sort of injury or anything. But this iteration of the Nets, I think they'll be a tough out for any team in the playoffs.
I prefer them to Philly.
For sure.
I would also take them over Philly.
So I can't, and I want to say like injuries play a part, but also if you're going to say if I'm going to say the Pelicans are a contender and I'm basing it on fully healthy, then I have to do the same for the Nets. There's just a part of me that is nervous about doing that, needing to see consistency and needing to see everyone healthy and them gelling. And a big problem with their team last year is they just weren't able to do that. They didn't always have the bodies, and they just didn't have time to gel, especially with Kyrie coming in as late as he did. So,
well, that's a beautiful segue because talk about a team that hasn't had time to gel. Believe it or not, the Clippers aren't a top 10 team in the NBA.
Say it again.
Believe it or not, the Clippers are not a top 10 team in the NBA, which is a crazy question to ask because 25 games ago, I seem to believe someone having them as their title winners. I don't remember which one of y'all it was. It wasn't
before the season. No, it wasn't me, but I had them as a contender before the season.
Okay.
I had them in the finals. But I think
that's what it was. That's what it was. It was they made the finals.
I picked the Bucks.
All right, hear me out. Let's go through it. Let's just talk through it real quick.
Okay.
Celtics,
obviously.
Bucks,
2.
Cavs,
3.
Nets,
4.
Sixers. Okay.
I don't trust them.
So we'll cut it out right there. Pelicans,
5.
Grizzlies,
6.
Nuggets,
7.
Blazers.
No.
Then they got to be top 10.
Okay. I didn't go through it before. I was hoping we did this on the pod. So
yeah, I mean, Warriors.
I would say they're right there with the Nuggets, somewhere in between there. Going
me too.
Forward, like long term, especially.
Yeah, if they're healthy.
I can't say any other teams in the West are better than them. And I can't say any other teams in the East are better than them. Yeah. So yeah.
So would you be shocked if they came out of the West?
Would I be shocked if they came out of the West?
Yeah. Would you be like, damn, where'd that come from? Or would you be like, okay, that's reasonable?
No, because they're 17-13 and Kawhi's played what? 3.5 games. Yeah, so I think when you see them with Kawhi, PG's out in and out the lineup. Kawhi's in and out the lineup. Norm Powell looks horrible. There's a lot of things we thought coming into this. We just didn't have a clear picture of what they would be coming into the season. And so that's why I think the expectations came from. But fully healthy, taking all these teams into account, fully healthy, I think they're definitely a top 10 team. Damn near a top 5 team fully healthy.
There's trades to be made for them, I think.
Has to be.
Easily.
And they have they do have choices too, options, flexibility, which is weird to think about. But
yeah. Reggie Jackson, Norman Powell, Luke Kennard, all guys who are expendable. So
they're paying so many guys. I have no idea.
John Wall's not. I think John Wall's great for what they do. I think they need John Wall.
I think John Wall's a good pickup. I'm not even gonna ask that question. I think John Wall's a good pickup. Staying in the West.
You want to ask me a John Wall, Russell Westbrook question?
No, I was going to ask you, do you think we should have got John Wall? Do you think we should have fought harder to
Yeah,
sign
for
John
sure.
Wall?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. But alas, here we are. Believe it or not, the Kings make the playoffs this season. Obviously, everyone knows about their 2000. The last time they made the playoffs was 2006. Their massive playoff drought. Do the Kings make the playoffs this season? For context, they are currently the 7th seed, 15-12. De'Aaron Fox started the season really hot. He's kind of tailed off a little bit, but still looks to be good. Domantas Sabonis looks good. Kevin Huerter looks very good. Do I think they should have gave him a first-round pick for him? I don't know, but he looks good enough to really make this team come together. Malik Monk's feels like a great signing for them. They've got
Malik Monk has
Murray
been
coming
so
on.
good.
He's been so good. Hey, but we got Lonnie. Lonnie's good too.
I like Lonnie.
I like Lonnie a lot. But
Do y'all watch the Kings? Do y'all ever watch them?
I've watched them twice, especially when the light the beam thing started happening.
That's
I was
cool.
like, all
That's
right,
fun.
let me
times.
see what's happening.
The progression that Malik Monk has made as a playmaker is unreal.
Yeah.
He didn't really do much of that on our team. Granted,
The
he's playing
passer
with
he
Bro.
is right now is wild. Anyways,
You got to like the career trajectory. His career took a good turn because he was on the verge of being out the league.
he always had the talent though. They just don't rock. They were not rocking with him in Charlotte, bro. They just did not care anything.
Charlotte
about it.
sucks, though. I mean, they're
Yeah,
not.
100%. That's where players go to die.
It's a tough place.
Shout out to LaMelo.
I'm sure
Yeah.
Mason
But-
Plumlee's doing well.
But so believe it or not, are the Kings, do they make the playoffs this season? Granted, only 10 teams make the playoffs. Just
I
kidding.
was not expecting
Just kidding.
Mason Plumlee doing Mason Plumlee's so well. He switched shooting hands while he was there.
Oh fuck. Oh
Did you see the reactions they posted on Twitter?
wait, no, I didn't.
the bench reaction from him shooting with his left hand.
No, I
The players of the bench were on.
I didn't even be.
No, that was so funny, dog.
I gotta
Okay.
find it for you, Naj.
Yeah, link it to me.
All right, talk to me, Naj. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, believe it or not, the Kings make the playoffs this season.
Nah,
Playing, yes. Playoffs, no.
they're not making that playoffs.
wait,
Nah.
wait. So do you think they make the play in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 10
Oh, yeah.
teams.
Yeah,
10
is that
teams
easy?
make-
Yeah.
10 teams make the play in. They're 7 right now.
Can I
So
tell you the teams behind them? Khalil?
Okay, so no, it's not an easy. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's not an easy. Yeah, but
Jazz, Mavs, Warriors, Wolves, Lakers. Like,
I feel better about them making the playoffs than I do the play-in or the play-in than the playoffs. So
yeah, 100%.
Okay,
They're not
yeah.
making the playoffs.
they're not. No, some way. If they got to play the Mavs in one playoff game, no shot.
Nah, if they had
Or
Tyrese Halliburton,
one play-in game.
if they had a guy like Tyrese Halliburton, I might think so.
yeah,
he's gone.
Tyrese is so good. All right, my next, believe it or not, actually is the Anthony Simons one. Believe it or not, Anthony Simons is better right now than CJ McCollum ever has been.
No,
You don't think
no,
so?
that's disrespectful as hell.
I'm saying he's better right now than CJ McCollum ever was on the Blazers, which I guess is
No.
most of his career. So
yeah, no.
That's as you said. Believe it or not, you said you believe it earlier.
you said earlier.
Yeah,
You
I
go
didn't know
back,
what it was
huh?
gonna be. No,
No, but you said.
Wait,
no matter what it
he
is,
said
I'm
no
saying
matter what it
believe
is.
yeah, no,
yeah.
I don't believe it. No. Do I think he will be? Yeah, I think he's just got more athletic potential. I think he's a better shooter. He makes well. I think CJ. When you look at the times that Dame didn't play and CJ had the ball, CJ was unreal. And I think CJ's probably past his prime at this point,
Mhm.
but it's still very effective. I don't want to take anything away from him. I think Simons probably has another year or so until he surpasses what CJ was in Portland. Another year of playing with Dame, because this is really his first time being a meaningful part of playing next to Dame. So
I think he can do it by the end of the season. I just think it needs to be a sustained thing. Like it's 26. He's played 26 games. Like if he's this good for 75 to 82 games, then I would say yes.
dog, he shoots the shit out of
Lights
the
out.
ball. I mean, it
Lights.
is insanity.
I mean,
Crazy.
is he hitting per game like 4 or 5?
He hits 4. I lied to you. He hits 4 a game. Yeah.
Gee, that's and off what 11, 12 attempts.
10.3 attempts. He shoots 39% from 3. On 10
God.
attempts is damn good.
Shoots the dog hell out of the ball,
You know,
bro.
like
Listen, listen, you know what? I'm gonna own it. I've been on this for a year and some change, if not longer. Simons is so much better than the Jordan Pooles of the world that it's stupid. And I'm so tired of his name being thrown in with those people or even forgotten about in those conversations. I'm taking Simons over Hero, over Poole, over Maxey, all those fools. They got another level to go before they touch the player that Simons is. And he's younger than all of them except for Maxey, I'm pretty sure.
Before the season, I would say he was forgotten about. Now I think it's starting to happen a little bit more. His name's being mentioned.
Do you take him over Desmond Bane?
Long term, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, by the way, Naj, I just sent you the Mason Plumlee reaction.
So. Watch it right now.
Oh, wait. I bet. Believe it or not, SGA is a top 12 player in the NBA.
No.
Name him.
No.
You ain't even got to go to order. You can just name people.
All right, Giannis.
That's one.
Jokic.
That's two.
Tatum.
That's three.
Durant.
4.
Embiid.
5.
Luka.
6.
Anthony Davis.
7.
LeBron. I'll punch everybody here in the face. You better say 8 right now.
8.
Before I start smacking people in their shit. Oh my God. Kawhi.
9.
What'd you roll your eyes for at 9?
He ain't play. He don't do shit.
He ain't playing, so I'm not putting him in there right now. He's pissed me off. I don't want to put him in there either.
All right, Donovan Mitchell.
Great.
Okay, 9.
Devin Booker.
Is Shai is it like easy to say Shai is better? Not as better than Devin Booker? I mean, Devin Booker is better than Shai?
He's the same level talent, but Booker is better.
Okay, so I'll give you that's 10.
All right, Damian Lillard.
Ooh, 11.
Hey, whenever he's played, bro.
11.
You think Shai's better than Kyrie? There's no way you think Shai's better than Kyrie.
12.
Paul George. Like, we could just keep going. Like,
He got me.
great.
He got me. Yeah. Shai's top 12. I mean, Shai's not top 12. Not top 12.
But according to Ringer, Kyrie is 44.
I
haven't looked at that yet. Is it bad?
Oh,
it's bad. Wait, we're gonna go over their trade values after.
Oh, Bill Simmons.
We're doing a full pod on the trade values, Khalil.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
When their trade values comes out, we're doing a full pod on that.
He just did the draft the other day, right?
He did
Bill Simmons did the draft, like a rough draft of it.
Yeah, but he released it on the pod, and now he's releasing the article on Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah, we're going through it because in the pod he has some crazy shit in there. So
they hate Trae Young
so much
with a passion.
Yeah, they don't like Trae Young.
Passion, and they love.
I didn't even say Steph Curry in that list, by the way.
I couldn't remember if you did.
Yeah.
And he loves Kevin Herter and Malik Monk so much, and hates Trae Young. Loves Halliburton.
Is Shai better than Zion?
No.
Is Shai better than BI to you?
Nah, maybe.
Okay. Listen, I love me some Shai. I said it before. He get me hot and heavy, but I ain't that hot and heavy.
You don't think he can play on a winning team? Like how he would translate to that?
So me and Khalil talked about this the other day when we were talking after I made the trade for Tatum in our Dynasty League, and I said I think I would take Booker long term, like his value. Because like Shai's got Chet who's going to come eat into his production, and then another top 5 pick probably this year who's going to eat into his production. And on top of not knowing really the certainty of what they want to do with Shai for the future, it's kind of been up in question for a while. Shai, I think, is a winning basketball player, but Shai's not a 1. So Booker's a 1, right?
Oh,
he's been a 1.
Well. On a team that went to the finals. 1 on a what? Okay. A 1 on a championship winning team? No. A 1 on a championship caliber team? Yes.
If you take this version of Shai and insert him to that Phoenix team, they don't go to the finals.
Probably not. No.
Okay. So I don't know what Shai looks like he's probably a 2, better off suited as a 2 to somebody who wants to. He could be a 2. He could be a championship.
Really good 2.
Yeah.
Well, y'all must have the codes to these because that's a beautiful segue to my next, believe it or not. Tyrese Halliburton is I promise you're not lying. Tyrese Halliburton is capable of being the best player on a championship caliber team, not a winning team, a caliber team.
No.
God no.
League guard for sure.
But best player, God no.
No.
Okay, I agree, but I heard
he's the best player on the Pacers right now.
After that, well. what made me think of that is I was listening to the Bill Simmons pod and they were going over Tyrese Halliburton and they were like, "Oh, Tyrese Halliburton could be the best player on a team that can make serious noise." Like, I don't know if he could be the best. I don't know if he could be a team's like real franchise guy. You know, like there needs to be someone else. He's a good start. He's a damn good start.
Every guard needs somebody else.
We've gone over that should be the
Miles Turner,
the motto for the that should be the motto for the pod.
Real quick, Justice. I feel like it's too soon to trade Shai for Booker, just because I'll base off the production. Sometimes I don't know. That's weird? It feels like the right thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, for now you hold Shai while he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah, I got to. I can't.
And if he starts to fall off, then you just
okay.
Get him out of there. Yeah,
that's what I thought. Go for it. My bad, Nash.
No, you're good. My next, believe it or not, the Timberwolves just aren't good.
Yeah, no, I believe that.
I believe it too. I think you can have a whole lot of talent and just not have the right fit. You know, like they have a fuck ton of talent. Anthony Edwards is insanely talented. I think D'Lo's talented as much as people like to discredit him. He had a rough start to the season, but he's kind of turned it around. But regardless, I think he's talented. I think obviously Cat is talented. I think Rudy Gobert is really good at what he does. But when you put Jaden McDaniels is really good at what he does. But I just don't think that team the NBA is so heavily, I don't know, like championship caliber teams are so heavily rely on roster construction, and the Wolves just aren't really that well constructed of a roster. You know, just like
go for it. Go on.
No, I was gonna say just like the Lakers, right? Like Anthony Davis and LeBron are two top 12 players in the NBA. So you would think that they would be able to be at least the top 5 seed in the West. And yet the roster is just so poorly constructed that it doesn't matter. They can do whatever they could drop 4. AD had 39, LeBron had 31, and we still lost. And so because the roster just isn't built to complement what they do well. And so when you look at the Timberwolves, you have a lot of talent, but it just doesn't mesh well together. So I believe that they're just not that good of a team.
No, I'm right there with you. And I got 3 things. Okay. So I listened to the Bill Simmons pod and they do not think that the Cat is a tradable asset, or a very tradable asset at least. Do you all think he is a tradable asset? Contract, who he is as a person, basketball talent, all that. What do you think?
I think any team in the league would still die to have Karl Anthony Towns.
If you put Cat on the block, you're getting your door knocked down.
Yeah.
They factor in the weirdest things, especially for the trade value type of stuff. Like
any team in the league would die to have Karl Anthony Towns. Come on.
It just makes no sense to me. And then also, should the Timberwolves trade Cat, or should they trade someone?
They need to reset somewhere, obviously.
Yeah.
In terms of what you get for Cat, you could get all the draft capital you wanted.
Get all that back from
and this is my measuring stick. If Rudy Gobert is a 7'6" draft pick guy, Karl Towns is 9'10". Like it's unfathomable to think about trading guys of Cat's stature at his age as well.
They messed up the market with that trade because you could. Yeah. That's why KD couldn't get traded.
Exactly, just because of that. KD would not be a net if that trade didn't happen.
100%. Because there's no way they could look at that trade and say, "Damn, they got 7 firsts for Rudy Gobert, who can't play on one side of the ball, and we're gonna give up Kevin Durant for you're bugging."
Yeah, but I mean, if they called us right now and said Cat for AD, I'd take it.
Oh, I don't know if I would.
I would, just because Cat's younger.
Oh, okay, yeah, but I don't think Cat's a better player than him.
But the roster construction's like really scary, and then you got Cat on the back line right there. I don't know. You gotta figure out some more stuff.
Regardless, Cat is still a very tradable piece. Like if they want it, they'd have no problem getting off of Cat.
And they were like the contract. I'm like, you're trading for probably a really good number 2 option. You're trading for a really good big, offensively amazing. Like I don't know. Like
they call the Raptors right now. They would get Pascal, Fred VanVleet, whatever number of picks they wanted, and then they would just ship off Cat. I can guarantee you the Raptors would do it. The Knicks would give them God and everything.
Yeah.
Randall, see ya.
The Suns would give them whatever they want to.
Oh my God!
I would love to see Cat on the Suns. I would love to see. I would.
Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson in the first, and a couple firsts, and
No, Aiden's gone.
Get Aiden
Oh,
out of
I
there.
mean, yeah, my fault. Aiden.
What is it? January?
Cam Johnson and some firsts. Yeah, he get moved in January.
Move him.
Every team.
Regardless, every team will want Cam.
every team.
But you got to think about the Timberwolves fit. So Aiden and Rudy Gobert on the Timberwolves.
If Karl Towns happens to hit the trade block, just so happens to hit the trade block, the Bucks better do everything they can to go get him, because him and Giannis would just be the most unstoppable thing I've ever seen in my life.
That'd be tough. I
think it's a conversation for them too.
Got to veto that trade.
I think they finish out the year, of course, to see what they have to do. But I think it's a conversation after it if it just doesn't.
I mean, you just gave up 7 firsts. You can't.
Well, D'Lo's out of here after this year.
Yeah, D'Lo's out. But
the conversation to make trades.
Yeah.
Something.
The only thing that they can trade to try and recoup those assets is Cat. Like, they're not moving Ant. No one's giving you back what you gave for Rudy Gobert. No one's giving you anything for D'Lo. The only thing that they can try and do to recoup those assets is trade Cat. And then at that point, you have Anthony Edwards on a horrible team. So it's like, what are you doing? That I don't know why they did that. Like, that's the craziest thing. Moving on to our team, our lovely, lovely, disastrous team. Anthony Davis is a top 7 player in the NBA, believe it or not. When he played, if this is the AD we get for the rest of the season, yes.
I gotta look at it. Hold on.
I would take him over Zion. I would take him over Dame. I would take him over all those guys.
All right.
Embiid.
Look, hold on.
I would take him over Embiid.
You don't take him over Embiid?
I would take him over
Luka.
Embiid. Luka. All right, let's say no. No Luka.
Jokic.
No.
Giannis.
No.
Steph.
No.
Tatum.
No.
Durant.
It's close. But
No, it's not.
But no, I said that on Twitter and Rivers on my ass. I think it's close. 6. Okay.
You take him over LeBron right now?
Come on, Justice.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, you know I would.
I have to put it in the conversation. I can't.
You
just leave
hate
it out.
LeBron right now.
He's pissing me off. He pisses me off. We taking contested threes and not even trying to get to the basket with a timeout in the pocket. Come on.
He's tired.
Yeah, he probably falls in right about 7.
I think 7. Yeah, that's that. I think he's top 7. Yeah. If he plays
depending
like
upon
this,
how you feel about Embiid, I think you could go either way.
if we get the AD we got the first 10 games of the season, then no. But if we get the AD we got from then on out, I think yes. I don't know what has happened for him mentality wise, but I love it. I think he is a massive part in us winning these games that we're winning. Granted, the only good win we have the entire season is versus the Bucks. We got the luxury of playing the Spurs 3 times in a week, and so we really we were boosting off them. But the only good team we beat is the Bucks. We blew it to the Sixers, we blew it to the Celtics, and yeah, that was my believe it or not. I refuse to talk about them for any longer. What
That's fine. No, we can leave it. No, I'm good.
No, please.
No, I'm fine. I promise I'm fine.
Okay.
I promise. I guarantee you we cannot talk about it ever again, and I'll be okay.
I got 2 more for you, both in the East, and then we'll get up out of here. Believe it or not, the Bulls need to blow it up.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think so too. I think they
Pick your mic up.
Yeah, I would love that. I think we were going to talk about that one time on the pod as a topic, but we just covered a bunch of NFL that one week. But yeah, I would love to see the Bulls blow it up. Believe it.
Yeah, there's not many places they can go from here. You know, like they're not real contenders. You know, DeMar DeRozan as your best player is never going to make you a real contender. Zach LaVine, it's not happening. So, you know, Alonzo may or may not ever play again. Nikola Vucevic is he's a very good player. You know, he's a good player, but that's not getting you anywhere in the East when you have monsters like Giannis there, monsters like KD, monsters like Embiid and Harden. Like you're not doing anything. You're not making no noise. Monsters like Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, you know, like you're not making no noise. So I think the Bulls really only have one option, and that is to blow it up.
Build around Pat Will. That's the only option.
The day you let go of Patrick Williams,
Jesus
will be the
Christ,
happiest day of my life.
I don't know what a blow up looks like for them. Obviously, trading Vooch, trading DeRozan. I think they keep Levine. Yeah, trade Alex Caruso.
If they put Caruso on the block, he's a warrior, guaranteed.
You saw Steve Kerr was like, "We'd love to have you." Like,
that would suck.
Guaranteed.
Come on,
good for them, but
yeah, he should still be a Laker. But that's another question for another day. But yeah, I think we all agree they'll both need to blow it up. And then last but not least, no, talk to me. What?
That voice you just used sounded like the old Spider-Man cartoon, like the beginning of it when they're like setting up the scene.
Yeah.
Anyways,
the last, believe it or not, stays in the East, and it is, believe it or not, Bradley Beal ends this season on the Wizards because they look pretty bad. Granted, they just signed him to that extension, but sooner or later, like, you gotta request a trade. We've been waiting for him to request a trade for 3 years. He's thugged it out, but at this point, I think it's time, Bradley, to get
where
rid.
though?
Where? Yeah, where?
Yeah, that's the question.
I don't know.
New York,
Maybe
Clippers.
There was, I can't remember what team it was, but some team was holding out for him.
the Lakers.
But yeah, not us. They're not taking any package we can offer. My question is more so like, do you think he calls it quits finally?
Nah.
You don't think so?
Nah.
If I change it to, believe it or not, he begins next season on the Wizards,
Then I wouldn't believe it.
Okay.
Where's he gonna go?
I don't know, but I don't think he stays here for much longer.
Well, it depends. If Kyrie's gone, Brooklyn can make a move and get a Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
Like, there's gaps to be filled. I think that the Knicks have to be interested in any type of star, whether they're a tier 3 special or not. So
the Lakers will always be interested.
Yeah. So
very special.
Very special tiers. And so with that, I think we're gonna get on up out of here. Unless you boys got anything else you want to chat about.
Thursday night football.
We're about to miss it. So, we got to get on up out of here. Watch my Seahawks beat their NFC West rival, San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy's getting taken down. I'm sorry. The streak ends here.
The defense is terrible.
Yeah, it's horrible. Offense hasn't been too great either, but it is what it is. Linsanity run. We will talk to you guys next week. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Twitter at Run It Up Pod. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Download on Spotify. Leave the 5-star rating and review. Follow me on Twitter at Najee Adams _. These boys on Twitter: Khalil at Belil44, Justice at JusticeRe2. We're about to get up out of here. I hope y'all have a little day, a little night, a little life. And just like we do on every episode of this podcast, make sure y'all go run it up.
Run it up.